Hi there, I'm Phil. Welcome to another Essential Movies video, where I take a spoiler-free look at a film that I think every film lover and film student should check out. Today we're looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was the third in what's now been called the Man with No Name trilogy, directed by Sergio Leone and starring Clint Eastwood, Eli Wallach, and Lee Van Cleef. The first film in this trilogy was A Fistful of Dollars, which was the first Sergio Leone spaghetti western starring Clint Eastwood, and it made him a star at the time. That film was based on the Akira Kurosawa film Yojimbo, almost shot for shot.
My agent in Los Angeles called me up in the William Morris office and asked me if I would like to go to Europe and make an Italian, German, Spanish co-production of a remake of a Japanese film in the plains of Spain, and I said not particularly.
The second film in the trilogy was For a Few Dollars More, which starred Clint Eastwood and now Lee Van Cleef. And this, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, was the third of these spaghetti westerns in this Man with No Name trilogy. And it is one of the greatest westerns ever made, despite the fact that it is a spaghetti western. For those that don't know, spaghetti westerns are westerns that are made in Italy or by Italian directors. They were shot in Italy or Spain or sometimes in America, but they were very much Italian productions.
Sources vary as to the origin of the term spaghetti western. It's generally thought that it was a dismissive title adopted by American critics. But the spaghetti western was more than just an inferior imitation of a Hollywood institution. The movement was pioneered by dedicated filmmakers who put a distinctly Mediterranean stamp on the genre.
And Sergio Leone was the master of these films.
You know, at the end of the day, I think the one artist that I think is the most influential to me as in my work has got to be Sergio Leone.
And these three films, and the ones that followed, define the genre. After The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly came Once Upon a Time in the West, this time starring Henry Fonda, Charles Bronson, Jason Robards, and Claudia Cardinale. And it's a great film as well. Following that was a lesser-known film, which was in fact Leone's last western, called Duck, You Sucker, or sometimes known as A Fistful of Dynamite. But if you've not seen any of these films, it's worthwhile just starting with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, even though it's in the middle of this. The Man with No Name trilogy is not a linear trilogy, really. They're all built around the Clint Eastwood character, who is not actually the same character in each of these three films. They don't directly connect. So you can watch them out of order, technically speaking. And in fact, the central character of this film really is Eli Wallach as Tuco. He's the one that has the most scenes, and he's the one that kind of gets a bit of a character arc. And it's funny. Eli Wallach especially is very funny in this. This film, of course, is famous for several reasons. One being that it has one of the greatest showdowns ever in westerns in the final sequence of the film. The other being, of course, the music. Ennio Morricone wrote all the music for these films, and his scores redefined how to compose music for a western. The themes from this film especially are iconic.
Therefore, according to the powers vested in us,
and that big shootout at the end works largely because of the cinematography and the editing, but especially because of the music. Sergio Leone was a very meticulous director. He builds his films in sequences, long set-piece sequences. And that's why the films, this one and Once Upon a Time in the West in particular, tend to be 2.5 hours long, if you watch the fully restored versions. It made Clint Eastwood a star. It made Ennio Morricone an international composer. It made Sergio Leone one of the greatest Western directors ever. It also made a star out of Lee Van Cleef, who was a wonderful supporting actor in films and TV back in America, but was never really considered a major star. And this and the other dollar films especially redefined what Westerns were and what kind of characters could inhabit them. After this, his third film in the franchise, Clint Eastwood decided not to do any more of these spaghetti westerns. He'd moved on to other things. So I encourage you to check out The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And if you like this one, check out all the other films I've mentioned as well. If you like these kinds of videos, you know what to do. If you'd like to learn more about filmmaking, check out my book linked below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
When you have to shoot, shoot, don't talk.
Every gun makes its own tune.